Final Fantasy II's not done just yet. We now have to tackle the optional scenario, Soul of Rebirth, which was added to this version of the game and also included in the PSP remake as well. This is probably one of the better Final Fantasy optional dungeons that, they added to the Game Boy Advance ports, but it's still not really that good. We'll see why in just a sec, but first off, let's see what this is all about. Now, it's been a while since we've seen this guy, but I'm sure you remember that that's not Gordon at the very least, right? And yes, we're thrown right into battle with 2 sergeants and a Black Knight. Now, you might be a bit worried here because the Black Knights were, well, pretty much endgame enemies, so they're sort of fairly powerful, right? Well, thankfully, their attack power has been drastically lowered from the main game. Because, well, if they had the normal power that they had beforehand, we'd kind of be extremely dead right now, and given they don't have any other sort of special abilities or anything like that, they aren't too much of a threat. However, they do take a while to kill due to the fact that the Black Knights have the same stats outside of their physical strength. Like, their HP and defense are pretty much the same as they were before, so basically, yeah, they're kind of hard to take down, especially since we only have 2 characters, one of them being a white mage, and one of them being a character we've never actually used before, so while this battle isn't difficult, it can take a while, and the best way to go about this probably is to use teleport. I kinda want to conserve on MP, though, is the thing, because obviously this is just the start of a dungeon. We're just going to be thrown into the dungeon. We're not going to have a chance to heal after this fight or anything. And while we do start with a few ethers, I believe it's only like 10 is the number? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 10. And I kind of want to conserve on those, because while they're not as valuable or as good as elixirs, in this scenario, they're not really as easy to obtain as they were in the main game, because in the main game you got a ton of money, and by the end game when you actually needed ethers, you could afford them easily. Here though, yeah, money it's not as easy to come by, so it's a bit more difficult. Sergeants, on the other hand, are pretty much the same, but they're not too tough. In fact, Minwu himself, well, not himself, but with the main party, took one down back at the Mithril Mines. There are 2 of them now, but they shouldn't be too bad still, since Minwu is a bit more powerful than he was in the Mithril Mines. Can't say the same for the other character. He does start with some magic. I would suggest using fire if you're willing to use MP. Again, kind of nervous about using it, because I want to conserve, but fire is good because, of course, Black Knights are weak to it, I believe. Actually, no, I don't think they are. I forget their exact weakness, but yes. Thankfully, we finally took that guy down. Swap is also an option, because you probably have a lot less HP than the Black Knights, but of course you also have a lot more MP than they do, I believe. And again, MP is a bit of a problem here, so try not to waste it too much. Other than that, though, these guys really aren't too bad. You shouldn't have to put up a protector blink or anything like that, because they're not too strong. It won't make much of a difference. It's just a waste overall. I can't think of any other stats or spells that Minwu can use that would help here. Other than teleport, of course. Teleport's great. Probably should have leveled it up a bit more as well, since they're only level 2, but well. It was good enough to take out a few guys, I suppose. I assume that they're still alive. I mean, how could they have been killed? What, did the Emperor summon a tornado and destroy half the planet or something? I mean, really now, that's just silly. No, I fired a laser at the door. It was, pretty radical. Not really. I mean, well, to be fair, Ultima wasn't really that helpful. I mean, it's decent, but it wasn't really worth killing yourself to open a door over. They're still alive? I thought they'd just deliver the ring and then go die or something. I don't know. Of course, they haven't seen hell before, but we have, and this does look a bit different, even from the Jade Passage. And with that, Scott joins our party. He's pretty similar to Firion in that he's a very balanced character. He's good with physical attacks, but he's also good with both types of magic, which is nice. He starts with some pretty basic magic, I believe Cure and the elemental spells. Minwu, of course, is the same as he was before he died. Well, as he died, really. Of course, while he was strong when we had him on our party, he was missing for most of the game. Oh yeah, and Scott also has life in addition to the other spells. But yeah, Minwu, not the most powerful. We also don't start with any potions. We do have some Phoenix stats, which is nice. And we get an elixir, but don't use that just yet, it's not worth it. We don't get nearly as many elixirs as we did in the main game. Starting off, we actually have some Soul Eaters, which are incredibly easy enemies. In fact, they're almost as weak as goblins. I mean, yeah, they can drain HP with their attacks, but the thing is, you're going to kill them in one hit. That's a guarantee. No matter what character you use, they're going to die the moment you attack them. They're so very easy to kill. But anyway, moving on. So, you might have noticed, this place is basically the Jade Passage, but with Joseph? Oh god, Borgin, stop making that face! Settled your... what? Joseph, clearly you don't know how the youngins speak nowadays. You don't know the youth's lingo and all that jazz. You're out of touch, old man. Yeah, a mortal body that really helped you in Pandemonium. Careful, he's undead and still shit. So yes, battle with Borgin. I'm pretty sure he's almost exactly the same as he was in Pandemonium, so he still has some decent spells. He can still paralyze with his attacks. But the thing is, he's still a wimp. Still. He's almost exactly the same as he was in Pandemonium, but a party of 3 that are much weaker than the 3 main characters we had can take him down almost as easily as we took him down before. I mean, yeah, we can't take him down in one turn, and he is paralyzing us, but he's still easy, because what is he doing outside of this? Besides, the paralysis is just wearing off after a turn anyway, so why should we even give a damn? I mean, we're not resisting it completely, yeah, but who cares? Seriously, we just get paralyzed, and then we come back in. We get paralyzed, and come back in, and then we burn him, and then he dies. See? Borgin, just as terrible as he's always been. Why does he get 3 fights? He doesn't deserve it. crushed by a boulder we could have avoided fairly easily as well. It was pretty sorry, wasn't it, Joseph? I don't know, I'd have some regret. I mean, we could have just walked around Morgan in the first place. I mean, did we really care that much about his death speech? I don't think anyone cares enough to hear Morgan's final words, but we did anyway. It's kind of their fault you died, really. Being dead, probably. The oven is still on somewhere out in the world. We need to come back to life and turn it off. So yes, Joseph joins the party. Now, Joseph, of course, is pretty much as powerful as he was when he died, which is to say, not very, because I didn't bother training him in the slightest. So yeah, he's kinda gonna be weak, even though he's supposed to be our physical powerhouse, and of course it doesn't help the fact that he's using axes right now. Now, he's supposed to use his fists, which he is fairly strong when he uses his hand-to-hand combat, but the thing is, while axes are powerful, there aren't that many axes in Soul of Rebirth. Like, I think there are 3 or 4 you can get here. I mean, there are some fairly powerful axes overall, but again, not that many, so he's gonna be at a disadvantage, especially since most of the axes you get are actually random drops, so, yeah, he's not gonna be as powerful as he could be, I think, unless I get lucky. And of course, you could teach him magic if you really wanted to. I wouldn't suggest it because Minwu's got white magic covered and Scott's got black magic covered. So basically, you don't really need any other mages. Now, speaking of magic, there is actually one little thing about white magic, or magic in this scenario. There's actually some missing spells that I don't believe you can get, including Slow, Stop, Death, Break, Drain, and Osmos. Now, other than Drain and Osmos, that's not a big deal, because, you know, most of them can be replaced. Death and Break, of course, you know, we have Teleport. There's no real reason to use those or worry about them or anything like that, so don't need to worry about that. Everything else is kind of negligible, because they don't really work that much anyway. Drain and Osmos, oh, Ancient Sword, that's useful. Now, Drain and Osmos, I don't know if you could actually get them on any of the party members before they died, but, oh shit, this is one of the toughest enemies in the dungeon. Let's hope the Ancient Sword works, and it did. Okay, good. Curse is very, very helpful for fighting these guys, because they have a very high attack stat, and we have 3 very weak characters right here that he would just pound the ever-loving daylights out of if Curse didn't inflict him. Thankfully, though, we took him down without too much of an issue, which is good, because again, most powerful enemy, so yeah. Anyway, Drain and Osmos, I don't know if Minwu could actually use them. I mean, they are black magic, but it's not like there's anything really stopping him from using black magic. But yeah, those are... It kind of sucks to be missing those, because at the very least they would be useful for Scott, because he's got a lot of spells to use, and it would be nice if he could absorb some magic back. Right here we have a Gill Snapper. They're not tough enemies, but they do actually give out some fairly good amount of Gill. That wasn't actually the best amount of Gill they could give. I think it's actually a random amount that they can give out, and... Oh, look, Pyralisks. Pyralisks are, they're very weak stat-wise overall, but they cause instant death with their basic attack, so I kind of want to kill them as soon as I possibly can. Bye, Scott. Yep, he's dead. Down he goes. Hopefully this takes care of him. No, it doesn't. Okay. Ask him a question, Joseph, please. Thank you. Oh, and of course... Okay, at least that didn't affect him too badly. So yeah, the Flan Princess isn't really that powerful, but it is actually a departure from the usual Flaunt enemies. Most of them actually absorb poison elements. Flaunt Princess is the opposite. It absorbs all elements except for poison itself, so they're actually weak to it instead, which, again, it's a bit different, and it might throw you off if you're used to the other Flan enemies. So yeah, physical attacks also don't really work too well. They've got a pretty high defense overall, but if I can get a curse off on them, I believe that will actually work. Of course, the problem is getting curse inflicted on them in the first place. It might not necessarily work. And yeah, I don't think they're resistant to it necessarily, though, so you should be able to inflict it at the very least. Thankfully, they're not too powerful either, and they can't cause confuse, but it's not really too bad, because again, it's wearing off pretty quickly. So yes, by now I'm pretty sure you have noticed that, yeah, this is just completely the Jade Passage, except the overall layout has been mirrored, and there's a new tile set, which, well, it's a nice looking dungeon, and I liked it the first time. It's kinda lazy that they just reused it. I mean, there's sort of a reason for it, but, at least there's still this magic shop right here, which actually has better magic, because all of these are very useful, but also very expensive, so I'm not gonna be buying those just yet. I'm gonna have to get to the end of this dungeon first. Death Knights here. These guys aren't really too bad. Their biggest advantage is just the fact that they're in a large group. Other than that, they're not too powerful, their defense isn't too amazing, and their HP isn't too good. Bow 3 isn't really a very dangerous ability either, especially since not even Minwu's in the back row. Because I kind of want him doing damage, even though he's a white mage, but and then again, his defense really isn't too bad, so I don't have anything to worry about. Actually, to be honest, I don't think any of these characters are really back row characters, and unless you equipped a bow to them, but at the same time, the fourth party members really aren't meant to be changed around too much. I mean, you're kind of just supposed to have them stick with whatever weapons they start with and just go with it. At the very least, that's what I learned from the first few playthroughs of this game, where I tried and I tried to get the fourth party member as good as the main party. That was a bad idea. That made the game way more boring than it already is. But the thing is, while it is a disadvantage to train them up in the main game, because, well, not necessarily a disadvantage, just it's kind of pointless, it does put you back in this mode, because, yeah, Minwu and Joseph are kind of much weaker. Scott, there's no really helping him, because he starts with the stats he starts with, you never get to use him. And also, as I said earlier, axes aren't that available, and of course that goes back to the reason that you're not really supposed to change around the fourth party members too much. You just give them what you give them, and that's what they get. Really, you're not supposed to change them up as much as you can with the main party. Bigfoot's here, well, they exist. They've got that going for them. They're as good as pretty much any of the other Yeti enemies or whatever they are. They're weak, they don't do much, they just attack. Their large grouping is their only advantage, really. So, there's that. And he's dead. Well, I can't even give you the You Tried award, because honestly, I think you could have given a better effort than that, guys. Seriously. Actually, I might give him I don't know. Scott's not bad with spears, and also, I think I gave Minwu spears for a little while, so I don't know. That might not be the worst thing, but, the three characters we have at the moment really aren't good with lances or spears or whatever. Aura's not really that amazing, because it's just a weird spell. Oh god damn it, Giga Parasites. Oh god damn it, are you serious? So yes, Giga Parasites, they reintroduced the ability to absorb MP with their basic attacks. That's something the previous Parasite enemies were missing, which made them less annoying. These guys are still frail, but they're still very, very annoying. Especially now that Minwu has no MP whatsoever. That's just fantastic. Now I almost have to use an Ether. Because, on one hand, some of the enemies are pretty weak. On the other hand, other enemies are incredibly strong. So that does kind of cause trouble. Soul of Rebirth isn't exactly the best balanced dungeon. I mean, you'd think the first floors would only be able to give you the weaker enemies, and they would save the stronger enemies for later floors. That's not exactly true, because of course we saw earlier one of the most powerful enemies showed up on, what was that, 3rd floor? Yeah. And of course there's also the fact that it doesn't really give you a chance to actually train these characters, it just throws you right into a dungeon, and given on your first playthrough, you wouldn't really expect this, well, probably wouldn't expect this, and in later playthroughs you probably don't want to try grinding characters like Minwu or Joseph. Yeah, it doesn't really put you in a good spot because most of your characters are going to be pretty weak. And of course there are enemies like that. Now, if I could have gone back to a town or something after getting a blow like that, that would have been fine, because I'm out of MP, but if I could just escape, I'd be A-okay with that. But no, we're in a dungeon. So, we don't really have anything we can do about that. Thankfully, we picked up a few potions, so we're not in too much trouble, other than the fact that these guys are fairly powerful, and they're kind of ganging up on Joseph, which isn't good in the slightest. And all my characters are low on HP in general. Basically, nothing's going right now, and I don't really care for it that much. On one hand, though, at least my HP and stamina will go up if I leave them like this, but I don't think I want to leave them like this. Because if that Death Knight attacks him, he could very well be killed. So I'm just going to have to risk it and save training for later. Oh, we got a Poison Axe. Poison Axe is actually very useful. May I remind you, not that many axes. This one is incredibly powerful, and true to its name, it can cast poison. No, inflict poison, rather. So yes, it is a very good axe to have, and I got really lucky getting that, actually. That's pretty good, actually. That works to my advantage, unlike losing all of my MP. So, hi? How's it going? Are you talking to me, or what? I don't... Oh, look who it is. Yeah, this shouldn't surprise you by this point, but, of course, the last party member is Rickard. So, out of all the things to bear a grudge against you, the roundworm follows you to hell. How exactly? Oh, whatever, who cares? Roundworm is just like the roundworm in Leviathan, except even weaker because they nerfed it for some reason. I don't know why they nerfed this guy because he wasn't strong to begin with, and we've actually got a full party right now, and it's actually a fairly good party. So, yeah, that was... well, we got Rickard at the very least, so it wasn't a complete waste. It was pretty crazy. I really hope the story starts with them saying, oh yeah, I was fine with sacrificing myself as long as they get to live, but then slowly they grow to resent the main party more and more. Especially since they eventually get replaced by Leon. That can't be fun. And with that, Rickard joins the party, which is good because he's probably the best character since he's got the best overall stats, and not only that, I gave him the Blood Sword, which is very useful because some enemies have some high HP and defense, And if you'll remember, Blood Sword just negates all that. So basically, he's really, really good, and he's going to be helping us a lot through this dungeon. So thank goodness he joined us. It's almost the end of the dungeon though, so at least there's that. So we have a full party now, and that is one good thing about Soul of Rebirth. While the dungeon design is pretty lazy because it's just copy-pasted from the end game of the main game, we do get to use characters that either died, or in Scott's case, were never used at all, so that does make it a bit unique and kind of fun to just use a different party for what is essentially the same dungeon that the main party went through. But that's that, and unless any other enemies want to attack me, we are done here, and thank goodness, because I was so close to death. And rather than go straight to hell, we wind up here in this strange little town. Good for you, buddy. Good for you.